Hello, Room 13. This is going to be our first day of distance learning, and we are going to be lining this up with page 236 in our expressions workbook. This is Unit 7, Section 1, and it's about simple expressions. We worked a little bit on this the last week, but we're going to use this time to do a review. One of the big focuses here is how we can express expressions in word form. So for instance, if we have this could either be add 3 and 2, or find the sum. Of 3 and 2. So we have figuring out how we can say the expression that is written above. Similarly, if it was, let me get an eraser. If instead of 3 plus 2, it was 3 minus 2, we would want to say subtract 2 from 3, or find the difference. Between 2 and 3. This is all stuff we've been doing for a long time. It's just a chance for us to think about it. I'm also going to point out that as a class, we've had some trouble remembering that when we're expressing subtraction, the number we're taking out comes first, and the number we start with comes second. It's a little counterintuitive, but we're subtracting 2. We're taking 2 away from the 3. We're not taking 3 out of the 2. If we wanted to work with multiplication, let's keep with our friendly 3 and 2. If it was 3, we could simply say multiply 3 and 2. Or we could say find the product of 3 and 2. Finally, if we had division, we would say divide 3 by 2. This is really the only way we'd be saying this for division. We wouldn't be using the phrase quotient. It just works better to say divide 3 by 2. And the thing that you can then use this for is it doesn't matter whether these are numbers or if they are variables. So we're jumping a little bit into the scary concept, the super scary concept of algebra. And here's all that algebra would be. If we had 3 plus r, you could say add 3 and r. If we had 3 minus r, you'd say subtract r from 3. If it was 3 times r, we would say multiply r and 3. And if it was 3 divided by r, we would simply say divide 3 by r. And in all these cases, it doesn't matter what r equals. We're just saying, that's not r, we're just saying what the expression tells us to do. So use this and go to page 239 in your expressions book, and it should look something like this. I'll zoom in for a moment, and you can write these out. So, for instance, they gave us 1/2 times p. And we said one of the ways we could say this is multiply p by 1/2. There's another way to say it. What would you say? Continue on and do this page. And here is where things get a little more interesting, which is simply when there's more than one step. And this is where our order of operations come into play. We worked on order of operations last week. We came up with our own mnemonic devices. So instead of the classic, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we came up with a lot of different expressions, including, today, let's look at people eat many Doritos at sunset. Which, of course, means we start with parentheses. We move on to exponents. We have multiplication and division. And these happen at the same time. Addition and subtraction, which happen at the same time. But when we're writing an expression in words, we need to say the order that they happen. So, for instance, if we had our classic 3 plus 2 times 5, well, our order of operations, people eat many Doritos at sunset, multiply comes before addition. So we wouldn't say add 3 and 2, multiply by 5. We would say multiply 2 and 5, then add 3. Or we could say add 3 to the product of 3, or of 2 and 5. In this case, we're adding 3 to a product, so we have to find the product before we can add the 3. So on page 200, ooh, I lost my page. On page 240, you're going to continue writing computations in words, this time considering the order of operations. Thank you for bearing with me on my first time trying to do an entire lesson on here. I hope this was helpful. Please use today to do pages 239 and 240. If you have questions, please post them onto this board, and I will do my best to help. Thank you very much, and have a great day.